Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we'll be talking about how to use my new Tycoon kit version 2. My first Tycoon kit was very popular and successful, leading one of the most popular game genres on Core, and the games created from it have accumulated over 30,000 plays. So, I have decided to make a version 2 with more features and a easier to use interface and much easier to use and more features. So, let's get into how we can use it. So, quick disclaimer before getting to this video. I was recording this video in a rush, so I may have stuttered a lot and there's a few bugs and glitches, so I do have to cut out a little bit. Once again, I was recording this video in a rush because I'm trying to get this video out as early as possible so that you can understand what's going on with my Tycoon kit, and so people have an easy tutorial on how to do it if they don't want to read a 200 line long readme. Anyways, let's get into the video. To start off, we want to go to this community content tab in your editor. Then we want to search up Tycoon. As you can see, there will be a Tycoon Kit V2. Let's just say that's by Ephraim. Let's put this into our game and drag it in. Now we have all these different things, so let's start moving all these in. We have a README file here. We can open this up, and if you find that you have some information that you want to know that I did not cover, it's probably in here. I spent a long time writing all of this, so it has all the information you could possibly need about the kit, including advanced stuff such as how to access player money, how to add new features, all that kind of stuff. So, now let's get into making our own Tycoon. Now, what you want to do is a whole bunch of things, but you want to drag in server scripts. This is important and required. This has a setup script which basically just puts an empty table for the owners, sets that, and we have a save script here. It saves everything. All the scripts here are also nice and commented out, so it's a bit easy for you to understand everything that is going on in here. Now, if we want an example of what can be done, let's bring in an example tycoon and also drag in UI. Now, let's move our example tycoon a little bit over and let's press play. As you can see, you can click touch to start. We have our tycoon now, and it's producing. This tycoon also has support for multiplayer, a whole bunch of features. I can't remember all of them. I added there some of them in the README file. Let's see. So we have big number support. So up to 4 quintillion or 2 to the power 52. Upgrades only unlock about prerequisite upgrades, saving, multiplayer. Place money goes to this little whatever this is called over here. Not quite sure why it's not working right now. I think I messed something up. I will have to look in a minute, and or upgraders, enhancers, all that cool stuff. So let's get into making this rest group, and let's see why this thing here isn't working. So I looked at the issue. The reason why our game wasn't working off the bat was because I forgot to mention that you have to have this checkbox here enabled to enable player storage. Now that we have that done, let's hop back in, claim our tycoon, and we now produce money. In a minute, we will be once this actually gets here. There is no small issue that I know about where the money splitter doesn't really work for the first few numbers. That's due to the number management system that I coded to allow for bigger numbers up to 4 quintillion. It doesn't really work well with really small numbers under 4, but after that it works just fine. As you can see, we can collect money. We can click store miner. We have a store miner now, and it's producing even more. And see, unlock the next upgrade, 2 and 9, and it goes over like that. So, first things we want to do is create a custom pathway. So, how would we do that? Here, in the imported stuff, or guess it would show for you here, but since I published this was under my shared content, but you would have the pathway templates. This has a whole different array or different bunches of different pathways and stuff that you can all piece together. The reason I put these all here is because if we click on one of them, say this one, and let's come to our, it has go forward, trigger. As you can see, it has a script that moves the cube. So for each pathway, each block, I have to put the direction it's moving. It's Vector 3, and if you aren't really too familiar with how Vector 3 works, it might take a bit of figuring out, so I put this out to make it easier for all of you guys to do. Let's move our example tycoon over so we can start making our own tycoon. And so let's go this queue up to something like 200 by 200, and let's get working. So we have, how about we start off with the U-turn, basic U-turn, and then we have, okay, I only want to grab one of them. Let's move this back here, basic U-turn over here, and it would be moving in this direction. If you can see my mouse, it would be going like this. And let's have, actually let's drag the other one over too and put it here. And let's move this little block here. And let's see, let's move this a little bit over here. Now we have a nice pathway. What we can do is now have a block. And if we place this here, another tip you may want to know is that if you press Shift equal, you'll start playing exactly where your camera was. F11 allows you to go to full screen so we can view what's going on a bit better. As you can see, our cube now follows the pathway nicely, and I think this should all be working. If not, we might have to fix that. And it seems still working. So, as you can see here, it's clicking off the pathway. There's nothing stopping it. So, how do we finish off the pathway? What you have to do is get the end of the line here, and let's drag this onto here, and let's test this out. Let's move block 1 stone over to here, so we don't have to wait a long time for it to move. And let's go. So it comes here, it's destroyed. Okay, it did not get destroyed. I'll do one thing is that what we have to do is we have in the line tycoon parents. You have to hook this up. So how about we actually create a new tycoon? Let's copy paste the example tycoon, and we can remove the floor one. We can move everything in here. Let's move this. So we just have the claim money stand and the claim sign. This was just basics necessities that you have to keep in there. And let's, in the line, let's put this into here as well, and our new, let's get our new pathway into here as well. I also did want to mention this is going to be a bit of a long tutorial as this kit is a bit more advanced and has lots of features that I want to guide you through. So, have these, and let's put this to Tycoon 1. And see we have an ID property here. Let's set this to 2, as this already has the ID 1. For each tycoon you create, say you have multiple tycoons, multiple players, you're gonna have to have a different ID for each of them. That's how it tracks who's the owner and all that stuff. I'm not really going to. If you do want to go into it, there's a whole bunch of scripts. You can look at the, I guess you could say, let me think of what scripts we could. So there is the end of the line script. You can see here, so commented out, and it's a bit one of the more basic scripts compared to some of them. It handles, it uses this to figure out who's the owner, has the table with the owner's tycoon ID. And this gets the owner of this ID, and the tycoon ID gets the ID property of the tycoon, which is tycoon parent, or in other words, this custom property dragged into here, so this. So when someone commits tycoon, they will be under the ID of 2. Bit more advanced script that serves us a bit better is the claim sign. Claim Tycoon, I guess it is. As a little system here, if you want to look at it. You can also copy pieces for other things you may need to use in this kit if you want to code your own custom features. This gets if the tycoon is owned and if the player could try to, I guess you could say, enter the claim the tycoon already claims the tycoon. It has if the player owns a Tycoon, if this is true, and if the Tycoon is owned, then this is true. And this little system here, we have logic. And this is all done by going through the underscore G owners table. It's a global table on the server which keeps track of all the owners and which Tycoon they own. That's enough complicated coding stuff. Now I assume you just want to know how to get this all working. So we'll be getting on with that. Let's do clip Tycoon. Let's make sure that all of these are all clipped properly. Same saying client visuals, it's still clipping Tycoon 1. Okay, that is great. Now let's also pop the basic dropper. We have a stone and second note. Spawner. Wait, miner. Okay, I have no idea why there's no template for that. I think I've got to actually make one for that. I will probably add that in the next version and patch. But as you can see, we have our stone spawner here. Let's go paste this into here. And once again, you have to hook up the Tycoon parent custom property on here as well. So Tycoon 1. And once again, if you want more information, you can always look at the different scripts on how to do it, or you can read through the README. It doesn't really look too appealing to read through, but believe me, it's interesting. I've put as much information in organized and as interesting of a fashion that I could. Talks about creating spawners, disabling save systems if you don't want to save. I don't understand why you wouldn't want to save, but I know there's some people that wouldn't want to save in the Tycoons. And changing models on conveyor belts, how to optimize the game, get rid of network objects, things you shouldn't be doing, more advanced stuff. I'm not going to go into this, as if you have the knowledge to understand what's going on here, you should be able to read through it and be able to implement it all. So what goes here, there's accessing exchange players' money. Once again, you're not going to need this unless you're coding custom features to go with this kit. And same with this is all about adding custom features. Basically, I'm also out of this section. I explain it up in another section, but whatever. I have customization more about choosing adding features and a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm not gonna bother going over all of it. That's what the documentation is for. So I have a stone spawner. Now press play. We go over to there. This also, as you can see, it shows up as green right now. Right? So we can click touch start and it now says owned by Ephraim. And our thing is now producing ores, which is also pretty cool in my opinion. It's not easy to set up basics. We also don't have any of the lines, so let's put one of those in as well. Also, I apologize if there's any keyboard or mouse sounds in the background. I'm trying to get rid of this. I have a few different things going on. Having video broadcast, also having background noise removal, and I got a new mic that should also be doing that. Although I have been noticing that it's doing some more videos even after that, but please don't let that be an issue. Let's say you don't like this model, what you can do, if you go into this static context, you have the model, you have the model here. You can change this model however you wish, and same with the conveyor belts. If you go to the belt forward, or whatever the name is, I have these all named differently, and we have the static context here, and this is where the model would be. Okay, now let's add buying items. So, come back to the example tycoon, we have a buy item here. Let's grab one of these. Control C and Control V, that's job. And really that's what most of this kit is mostly just copy and pasting lots of things. So as you can see, you have a buy item. We don't want a foundation, we want a spawner that's rotated by 90 degrees. And put this here. So we have the foundation, or this would be thing to buy. In the buy trigger, you have this. Here you can hook up what you want to buy. Let's move this. And all of these other properties you can hook up. Let's set the ID to 1 for now. And let's set the cost to 10. We also have a property for if it has an unlockable. We'll be getting into that in a minute. Let's copy paste this spawner, where have I put it, into here. Now, let's put this here under this. So, let's now try to find out by foundation. So, the miner, or the object that spawns, would be this. So let's drag this into here. And let's duplicate this. Let's actually rename it to by miner. Let's duplicate this, but now maybe we want it. One thing I did forget to do actually, go to client context, go to the row text. Let's set this to stone miner. And we have our foundation here. That's actually not our foundation, but we have supply thing. So we have has an access, it has an unlockable. So if basically, let me show what this does. Let me put this into here. Look at this. We're not gonna be next. And for each item, make sure that the ID is always one more than the previous one. Or at least make sure the ID is unique for each item. That's how it saves and does all that stuff. So, as you can see with unlockables, 1 minute, let me go over there. Movement speed is kind of slow. I'll fix that off screen, off recording in a minute. As you can see, we only have this one available right now. That's because the next one is, as you can see, in unlockable, or the next option on here. But if you come back to here, let's give this a minute for our stone to reach there. I will speed this section up and also mute myself during this section. Okay, now we have enough money from here, and as you can see, if we come over here and buy this, okay, it seems we do not have enough money yet. So, I made a very dumb mistake. Please pardon me, I spent like an hour debugging this. As you can see, there's probably something that's a bit different than before, and I did cut out randomly because I found this weird bug, and as soon as I forgot to hook up the new things, just copying it from there, and I forgot to hook up the compared to this, so it was looking for the wrong ID. And that was a bit of a mistake on my side, so now let's actually try this out. Hopefully it doesn't break this time, but I don't make a mistake. Just come here, I'm gonna make okay. Sad. Let's do this. So once again, let's make sure you have the right Tycoon parent hooked up. Don't worry, if you copy paste the whole Tycoon, it will be if you're duplicating Tycoons having once multiplayer. That would not be an issue. It's just if you're copying stuff from one Tycoon to another single stuff, that kind of bug may happen. And purchase this, and we have a next one unlocked. It's pretty cool, in my opinion. And if we come to here, where's our next one? Let's make sure we don't miss a mistake here. Let's hook up our Tycoon again. My next version, in version 3, if I do decide to make that, I will likely make it a lot easier so I don't have to hook any of this kind of stuff up. It just automatically figures out the parent and all that stuff. The ID is ready too, which is good. And let's set the row text to, let's make this gold miner for 25. I just want to set this to make it stand out. Gold miner. And it should be 25. And once again, this should be 25. Also, if you don't have next, but you have something here, don't worry about it. It won't cause any weird issues or anything. And as you can see here, we have our stone spawner. What you can do here, first, since it's a gold spawner, let's change the model to, say, I think gold would be appropriate. And set the spawn time to 1. Let's just make a new block. So we see we have block 1 stone. It's a stone block, that's boring. So let's set the value to 10 and set the model to a gold material. Also, I do not recommend having multiple stuff. if you do have a model as a child to this, or you have a complex model like a, say, cube with a triangle on top of it, I wouldn't recommend doing that. It's not supported, it's supported just to have a single cube with the name of ore. Do not change this name either, as it will cause issues. Make sure you leave it as name ore. Okay, so let's create this, create new template, and this should be block 2 gold. And now, this here, block 2 gold. And let's rename this to gold spawner. You don't have to rename it. I just like to keep things named, make stuff easy to read and very organized. So, if you come back, once again, our thing loads. We now have our spawn that we bought last session. It's still here, now producing 2 ores. That's producing ores, and so is that one. And we have all of this. Pretty cool, right? But the thing is that it's boring. This you can't really upgrade your ores; they all same value. But that's not really an issue, because if you come over here, I don't have it loaded. But if I were to have it loaded, there would be an upgrader here, and it's in the example Tycoon. So how would we add upgrader? It's very simple. I have a built-in upgrader system or upgrader that's very easy to add. So let's get our gold miner first, so we producing money fast. 26, and let's come here. I have a gold miner now, and see, it's producing gold. That's pretty cool. And let's go to where his gold actually comes to the end of the line. Okay, and give it a minute. So it's at 24, 26, 27, and as soon as we went in, it got us the 10 gold we deserve. So let's claim all this money. We have 100 now. Let's set the upgrader cost to 100. So if we have our buy miner, let's copy this, Control C, and Control V. Let's rotate this and have our upgrader. Now see, this is still a miner, but what we can do is if we do this, the byte trigger, let's set the ID to 3 and the cost to 100. And let's also set the next property on here and set it to this. Go back to here. And we have everything here. Now, here we have our upgrader. Let's just get the upgrader here, paste it, and move it to here. I will probably adding these as template dependencies, so some methods you'll actually have to copy paste it from the example Tycoon in the future. I'm just recording this on the day 1 release of the kit with no patches whatsoever, so it's very basic at the current time. I mean, it's at least more advanced than version 1, which, if I'm correct, had like barely any features that, other than droppers moving and ending. It didn't even have multiplayer support, so this is a large upgrade over the last one. And even though it's still lacking a few things, quality of life things, such as having everything right from the template, everything else should be pretty easy for you to use to get. So we have this here. Let's put this. And as you can see, let's follow our gold block. Let's click on it. Actually, it's supposed to be worth, it's worth 15 right now, but if we come to our block 2 gold, okay, but we can't actually, yes, we can do that there. So click on this one. It says 10, right? But this one says 15. I'm getting confused now. So this one says 10, but this one says 15. But that's like because the upgrader. So when the upgrader actually goes through them, it actually upgrades their value by times 1.5. So you can also edit this too. It's in the, if you go to README file, it explains how to do that. It's a minor thing, I'm not going to go over too much to do it, but it should be somewhere in the here. Line 233 of the README explains how to do it. And as you can see, we now get also money from this. This still work nicely. So I'm pretty sure it's those features. I will actually, I think I made some more. 1 minute. Okay, yep. Turns out I did forget one thing, one little minor thing. How to have multiple tycoons. So let's actually remove our jumper tycoon and set the idea of this one to 1. So having multiple tycoons is quite easy, although it can be a bit hard if you don't have any familiarity with the kit. It's very complicated process, believe me. So first you have to press Control C. And next process is also very hard. You have to press Control V. As you can see, that basically completes the process. Although one last step we do have to do is change the ID by 1 up to 2. Now we have our second tycoon. If we hop to play preview, and our second one, you can see we can claim this one. This one is owned by bot 1, as you can see. And if we head over here, owned by bot 2. Pretty nice. And we're producing orders simultaneously. We cannot claim each other's stuff, we cannot be on anything on each other's tycoons. We're limited to our own tycoons. One last thing I do want to go over to is say we are switching this to Tycoon 2. Let's say we rotate it. This is a big no-no. The issue that happens here is we come here. Yeah, it doesn't work well. So if you do that, this you have to go into here and reset all the vector 3s to what they would actually be. Instead of this would be the opposite, so instead of going forward 300, we're going backward 300. So we would have to use for all of them, if you were to rotate it like that, if you want to have, the reason you would rotate it, well, actually lots of people rotate it is if you want to have like a symmetrical maps like this, we have all this stuff here. This can be a bit more complicated. So if you are that, you would have to reset the vector 3s. It may take a bit of playing around to do if you aren't really too familiar with them. But in general, if you have road space toggle road space here, so it's like a road, and as you can see, make sure it's always, if it's straight line, it would be 300 or whatever when you want to be. But if it's basically, if it's in the way that it's pointing, then it would be positive. If it's opposite way it's pointing, so if we're going this way, then it would be negative y. If it's going this way, it would be positive x. Going that way, negative x. Positive z, negative z. That's a simple rule I like to keep in mind when entering these values. Otherwise, if you don't know about that, it could be a bit challenging to put all of these things together. Well, I'm not going to actually do all that because I have no need for this. And one other thing I did actually want to go over, let's save this. If you come into create a project and go to community projects, and you can search up Tycoon. There should be, let's see, it should be Tycoon Kit version 2 demo game. Let's do this. Name it server, doesn't matter, name it. This shows a fully functioning Tycoon game with 4 tycoons. And as you can see, actually sits at 2000 booked objects, which is, in my opinion, pretty good. And it has 4 tycoons, 2 stories. This occurred to me as a kind of demo game to show what is possible with the new kit I made. See here, you can claim it. Okay, I don't have my data for my actual game. I'm open to my project that as I was testing in. And press play. And it's another just showing how save works. Now I have a whole tycoon loaded. And this concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you, and thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Also, if you have any questions, consider joining our Discord. I do hold giveaways there sometimes for core cosmetics and stuff. And also, we have a whole channel too if you have any questions on how to use kits. A nice friendly community there, so consider joining there as well. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.